An apology that shook the Middle East, but whose words were they really? Did Netanyahu speak for Israel, or read a White House script? A Qatari killed, a secret draft, and Trump pulling the strings. What began as a strike on Hamas may have turned into Washington's most scripted apology yet. Reports have suggested that the White House drafted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's apology to Qatar following Israel's September 9 strike targeting Hamas leadership in Doha. Politico, citing three sources familiar with the Oval Office conversation, reported recently that Netanyahu read a message prepared in coordination with Qatari representatives, while a senior Qatari diplomat, Ali al-Thawadi, reportedly attended to ensure adherence to the pre-approved text. The conversation, organized by American President Donald Trump, addressed both the unintended death of a Qatari serviceman and broader coordination on Gaza, including ongoing hostilities and potential negotiations with Hamas. Following the call, Trump announced that Netanyahu had agreed to the U.S. plan to end the conflict. Palestinian-American businessman Bashar al-Barbar, known for his role in mediating between Hamas and the United States, described the outcome as encouraging, noting optimism for a potential ceasefire. The September strike occurred while discussions on a U.S. proposal to end the Gaza conflict were underway. Arab media reported that key Hamas negotiators, including Khalil al-Hayya, were present during the strike, which Hamas sources characterized as a possible attempt to target leadership. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt later emphasized that unilateral military action within Qatar, a sovereign nation and U.S. ally, did not advance U.S. or Israeli objectives. An official White House readout said that during the call, Netanyahu expressed his deep regret that Israel's missile strike against Hamas targets in Qatar unintentionally killed a Qatari serviceman. The Israeli premier further expressed regret that, in targeting Hamas leadership during hostage negotiations, Israel violated Qatari sovereignty and affirmed that Israel will not conduct such an attack again in the future. A Qatari statement, issued shortly thereafter, confirmed the call, describing it as the bare minimum, and said that Thani expressed Qatar's refusal to tolerate violations of its sovereignty, while conveying readiness to continue its involvement in efforts to end the war in the Gaza Strip under the framework of the US president's initiative. Netanyahu's apology marked an about-face from previous repeated insistence by the premier that Jerusalem was within its rights to strike the Hamas leaders, including in the Qatari capital. A day later, Trump issued unprecedented security guarantees to Qatar. In a presidential order he signed, the U.S. declared that any armed attack on Qatar's territory or infrastructure would be considered a threat to the security of the United States, and that Washington would respond by all lawful means, including military action, to defend the interests of the U.S. and Qatar. The Israeli Prime Minister's office strongly rejected the Politico report, labeling it fake news. The office emphasized that Netanyahu determined his remarks independently, with no prior coordination with Qatari officials. The statement clarified that the Qatari diplomat present during the call attended only at the invitation of the American team and had no prior contact with Netanyahu or his staff.
Prime Minister Netanyahu's remarks in his conversation with the Qatari Prime Minister were determined by the Prime Minister himself, in consultation only with his professional team. As for the Qatari official, he was present only during the call at the invitation of the American team, and there was no contact whatsoever with the Israeli team.
Analysts note that the episode highlights the complex interplay between military actions and diplomatic objectives in the Gaza conflict. The involvement of intermediaries, such as Bashar al-Barbar, and the engagement of regional partners illustrate a strategy that balances military operations with broader political considerations. The Netanyahu-al-Thani exchange, while addressing an immediate incident, also serves as a test of ongoing regional diplomatic coordination and may influence the trajectory of the Gaza conflict in the coming months. Netanyahu has a history of diplomatic apologies to neighboring countries in the wake of controversial incidents. In March 2013, Netanyahu apologized to Turkey for the deaths of 9 Turkish citizens during the Israeli raid on the Mavi Marmara flotilla in 2010. The flotilla had attempted to breach Israel's blockade of Gaza, resulting in international condemnation. The apology was delivered in a phone call with then Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan and included an expression of regret, as well as a commitment to provide compensation to the victims' families. The call was facilitated by former US President Barack Obama, who was present in Israel at the time and intervened during the conversation. Netanyahu acknowledged operational errors identified in the Israeli investigation into the incident. The apology helped restore diplomatic relations between Israel and Turkey, leading to the exchange of ambassadors and agreements on compensation. Netanyahu highlighted the importance of cooperation for regional stability and humanitarian improvements in Palestinian territories, signaling a pragmatic approach to mending strained ties. In September 1997, Netanyahu offered an apology to Jordan after a failed Mossad operation to assassinate Hamas leader Khaled Mashal on Jordanian soil. The operation, involving poison administered to Mashal in Amman, triggered a diplomatic crisis, with King Hussein warning of severe consequences if Mashal died. US President Bill Clinton intervened, urging Netanyahu to provide the antidote and prevent an escalation. Netanyahu complied and personally delivered the antidote, while also offering a direct apology to members of the Jordanian royal family. He pledged that Israel would refrain from similar operations in Jordan, a gesture that helped preserve the peace agreement between the two countries. These instances illustrate Netanyahu's use of formal apologies as a diplomatic tool, often in coordination with international partners, to repair relationships and mitigate crises arising from Israel's military and intelligence actions.